Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and for the last 7 days, I've been driving the 2025 Volkswagen Jetta GLI. Up front is a 2.0-liter turbocharged inline-4, and down below is a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be making this video because I've spent the last week driving the GLI. This is my first time having a GLI or Jetta as a press vehicle. I got to spend an entire week with it, and I'm going to share my thoughts on what I liked and what I didn't. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 2-liter turbo. Well, that's part of what makes the GLI special. It gets the hopped up engine. It makes 228 horsepower and has been an absolute riot driving around town. You definitely feel that power, and it feels very sporty, very light, very nimble, very quick on its feet. And I like that feeling. It adds a little bit of enjoyment to a more mundane drive. And I think that's kind of the whole point of the GLI. I think that's what made the GLI special. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But like I said, paired to it is a 7-speed dual clutch. Now, you can find these in manual if you would prefer the manual. And honestly, in my personal opinion, I would prefer the manual transmission, but the automatic is pretty good. It's very fast. It's a very sporty transmission, so I don't have any worries or regards in that way. Last but not least, the GLI is front-wheel drive, and it does feature a limited slip differential for this performance trim. How does it feel to drive the Volkswagen Jetta GLI? Well, like I said, it's quick, it's nimble, it's very, very fun. The only downside seems to be the steering. The steering is a little bit light, especially on the highway. Up at highway speeds, 60, 70, 80 miles an hour, the front end starts to feel really light. It's almost like someone boosted the sensitivity of your computer mouse, and not in a very good way. Around town, it feels fantastic, but I tried it in all the modes, and it just had this really light feeling when up at highway speeds. Beyond that, it's been great. It's been a fun little canyon carver throughout the week, and as I mentioned earlier, it's added some enjoyment to drives that would more often than not be more mundane. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a digital gauge cluster. Now, I do get physical gauges for fuel and coolant temperature, but that's it. I like the look of it. It's very clean, simple, and easy to read, which I always like for gauge clusters. On the steering wheel, on the left, we do have our adaptive cruise control options, as well as our volume. And off to the right, we have our selectors and skip track. Now, these are the haptic buttons that Volkswagen has started to use in the last several years. I'm not a big fan of them, but after using it for a week, you kind of get used to it. Again, it's not preferred, but it's not this god-awful experience every time my finger graces the steering wheel. So it's okay at the end of the day. We also do get some special GLI coloring and badging down at the bottom of the steering wheel. And off to the left, we have a climate control vent and our headlight switch. Moving out of the door, we have lock and unlock, power mirrors, and power windows. Moving into the center, we get our infotainment display. We do have physical buttons for like radio, media, phone, voice, app, sound, car, and menu. We have tune and scroll knobs. Something I absolutely hate about the volume knob is that it is directional. So if you turn the music up or down, you are going to kind of mess with the logo, and more often than not, the logo is crooked, upside down, and it's really annoying. So I would just leave it in the upright position and change the volume on the steering wheel. I don't know why Volkswagen did that. But getting back to the infotainment, we do have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which has been nice, but nothing really too crazy beyond that. Down below, we do have 2 climate control vents and the hazard switch, and then we have our climate controls. We do have dual zone climate, as well as we have heated and ventilated seats. Very, very nice options, especially at this price point, something that the Honda Civic Si does not receive, and to To be fair, the Type R doesn't even get cooled seats. What I don't like is the sliders for the temperature and sliders for the fan speed. Sliders for the temperature I can get by, but the slider for the fan speed is kind of annoying because there's no readout anywhere else in the car telling you what fan speed you're setting it to. So you're kind of flying blind. So I don't really love that. We do have 2 USB-Cs as well as a wireless charger. Now, this is gonna sound ridiculous, but the wireless charger actually charges my phone. Toyota, Lexus, and Mazda products don't work with my phone. If I'm lucky, those products will hold my charge while I drive, but this will actually charge up my phone as I drive along. It sounds crazy, but that's the truth. Then we do have our center console. So shifter in the center, obviously we can plus minus on there if we want, but we also do have paddle shifters. And then off to the left, we have our power parking brake, auto start stop on and off, and our drive modes for sport, custom, normal, comfort, and eco. I have left the car in sport, and it actually will leave you in whatever drive mode you end your drive in. When you start it the next time, it will stay in that mode, which is very nice. Then off to the right, we have a 12-volt outlet and the traction control off button. Then we do have cup holders. We'll do a big friggin' bottle test. However, somewhat predictably, it fails the big friggin' bottle test. Wah, wah, wah. And then we do have a center console with nothing in it and the seats. The seats have been pretty comfortable. They are heated and ventilated, power and memory, so they've been comfortable throughout my week. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the Volkswagen Jetta GLI, and this is where the Honda Civic Si is really gonna pull ahead of the GLI. This is not a great amount of space. My knees are getting smashed into the seat in front of me. I do have LED lights. No, not even LEDs. These are incandescents. Okay, it's not a fantastic spot to be in. I also have these cup holders in the center, fold down armrests. That's pretty much it. This is not a strong suit of the GLI, and that's okay, but I really wish that this was a lot better because the GTI also doesn't have great back seats, so there's really no winning between the two of them. Whether you get the Jetta or Golf, you're not really going to have a great back seat either way, even if you get the four-door Golf. So something to note. I also don't get any vents back here. That's just pretty much it. Let's hop into the very back. Maybe we'll find some space in the trunk, and then we'll talk about the looks. Right around the back of the Jetta GLI. Button right there, and we do have an ice scraper and a floor mat because 'tis the season. Now, we do have a pretty fair amount of space around the back of the Jetta GLI, so I'm happy to see that there is space somewhere behind the driver's seat. It's just all the way in the trunk. Nothing too crazy here, although we do have these little tags or whatever that say grab the inside handle in here and pull it down like that so you don't touch your beautiful blue paint. But let's talk about that beautiful blue paint. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and this is updated for 2025. They have refreshed the GLI and the Jetta as a whole, which is happy to see. I always like when they refresh vehicles because that's kind of them recommitting to building them, and I like the GLI. I want the GLI to stay around. I think it is pretty handsome. I think the redesign went pretty well, and this color is absolutely fantastic. But with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the Volkswagen Jetta GLI for the last 7 days? Well, I've really enjoyed my time with it. I knew I was going to. I reviewed a 2023 GLI not that long ago, and would you believe it? I had the same consensus. I really liked it. I think this is positioned in a really good lane because this vehicle feels like it is for the more casual fan. It's not in the hardcore lane of the Golf R or the Honda Civic Type R or the GR Corolla. This is more of a Honda Civic Si, an Elantra GT line, the Corolla XSE. It's fun. It's more fun than its basic rental car counterpart. This is way better than the base model Jetta with the 1.4 liter. Tremendously better. But this also doesn't break your spine if you want to take it on a Sunday drive. This doesn't force you to drink Monster Energy and have biceps the size of milk jugs to get it around the corner. This car isn't trying to shave lap times like it's its job. This says, hey, the Jetta's great. We love the Jetta. Here's something a little bit more fun, a little bit more interesting to kind of give you that spark while you drive along. If you buy this car and you have a job where you have a commute, this car is going to make your commute that much more fun. But it's not going to break your spine during that commute. It's not going to force you to redline and pump your adrenaline on your way to your 9 to 5, or on your way to school, or on your way to your friend's house. This kind of is able to live a double life where it is entertaining and fun, but can also be civilized and normal. I think the redesign went really well. I think this is a handsome, handsome automobile. I've enjoyed the sounds that it makes. I've enjoyed driving it. And I've enjoyed still having all my fillings in my mouth. They haven't been rattled out because this isn't a track car. This isn't something that's very aggressive. It's soft around the edges where the Type R and GR Corolla might punch you in the chest. And it's priced in that way. This is just a touch more expensive than the Honda Civic Si that we recently drove here on the channel. But I do think that it feels a little newer than the Si. It has that fun German spunk that the Si doesn't have. It feels less like a computer game and more like a handwritten card. I like this. I like this a lot, and I hope that Volkswagen keeps the Jetta around for another generation and a generation after that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Volkswagen for loaning me this Jetta GLI for the last 7 days. Huge thank you to Drive Shop for facilitating the cleaning and delivery of this vehicle, and of course the Midwestern Automotive Media Association. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.